Hola clase! Today we are learning how to do network diagrams when there are dummy tasks involved. As usual, I will give you a how-to guide step by step on how to do it, and then we'll make an example together. Dummy tasks allow us to connect nodes in a network diagram when the task that should actually be linking them has already been used. Because remember, I can only use the task once. It represents that I already did it. So before actually tackling a network diagram where there are dummy tasks, I need to know how to read and create a precedence chart and how to create a network diagram, the basic steps. For our how-to guide step by step, you don't know there will be dummy tasks there until you do it, so you start creating your network diagram normally. So you place your nodes from 0 to n, you number them in order, you place the non-dependent tasks first, all of the steps we saw in the previous video. Then you will get a point in which if a task depends on two or more, but one of them has already been used individually and is being capped by a node, then what you do is you draw a dotted line, which is the dummy task, to use it, and that is an arc, so remember it is an arrow. That basically allows me to bring it to where I need it without doing it twice. And at the end, once I finish doing all the tasks, remember I need to double check that there is only one source node and one sink node. Let's see that in an example. They asked me to create a network diagram matching this precedence chart. And I don't have timings in this one, we just want to focus on doing the network diagram. One quick trick is read the precedence chart before you do anything, and if there is one task that you see that it's being used alone in the precedence table, or in the precedence column, better say, and in a group, you know they're probably going to be a dummy. But let's work from the beginning and imagine that we didn't realize of that. I place my source node, I number it 0. There are two non-dependent tasks, A and B, so I branch them out of there. C and D depend both from A, so I place them exiting the node 1. And then E and F depend both of B, place a node 2, and they both exit that node. Now I'm going to change colors here so we can go back to it later and see what happened. In reality we wouldn't do this, we would just work on the same pen, but this is just for clarity. Now I have a task here, G, depending on C and D. So if this is the only thing I'm looking at, I could bring both these tasks into a node, and then I would have G exiting the node, and we should number it, so it would be number 3, and we go on. I continue, and there is a task H that depends on E and F, so I find them in the diagram, bring them together, enter in a node from which H exits. I continue, there is task I depending on both G and H, so that is a new node. And now I get to a point that I see a task J depending only on C. So if I find C in the diagram, it's already entering node 3 in our case. So I cannot draw J out of it, because I would be saying that J depends of C and D, which are the tasks entering the node, and that's not what the precedence chart is telling me. So now to solve that, I would need to create a node only for C, so I can draw J out of it. So if I go back to the original pen blue that we were using, I would need to break C there, bring a node, let's just label it with a 6, and bring J out of it. But G, the task that already was depending on C and D, still depends on C and D. So what I need is to draw a dummy line getting to join this C and this D. And the arrow is not very visible, but it's there. It should be an arrow. The same happens when I look at task K that depends only on F. So I need to break that arc that I thought was entering node E, because I need to have one node from which K exits, and then I need to join the little dummy task to have H still depending on E and F. Then I keep on reading. I see a task L depending on I, J, and K. That's not a problem. Bring them all into a node. L exits the node. It's the last task, so that would be capped by the sync node, in our case number 9. I double check that there are no repeated numbers, and I would be fine. Now if you want to see the nodes reading in order from left to right, and you didn't realize that you need that dummy task there, so you want to see them tidier, you can always go back and renumber the nodes. And you could see, well, these ones are the ones that I should have seen first, so I'm going to label the nodes 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 instead, and 8 and 9 are at the end. It's perfectly fine. The important thing is that I don't have two nodes numbered the same. Once we check that everything is in place, we are done and ready to go. Now it's your turn to go and practice. Thanks for watching.